I can't tell you personally how many mornings I've wanted to quit doing this. And if it wasn't for, and it's going to make me kind of tear up, but yeah, watching people and just how we've helped people, I think that's the reason why we push on every day. That's the reason why we choose to do the hard things, because all the hard things are the ones worth doing in life. Yep. And again, I wouldn't do it with anyone else.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Eversio Experience podcast. I'm your co-host, Dr. Desiree Caruso, a naturopathic physician, and today's episode is a really special one and super cool because we are going to be diving into what it's like to be married in life and in business with two incredible people that you may recognize, Brandi and Craig Garden, the co-founders of Eversio Wellness. They're not just partners in mushrooms, they're partners in life, love, and everything in between. And today we're going to be talking about the joys, the challenges, and the magic of building a life and business together. Brandi and Craig, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Dr. Des. It's good to be here.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, let's dive into the origin story of Eversio Wellness and you guys becoming business partners. I'm curious, did you guys ever imagine that one day you guys would be business partners?
Do you want me to start, babe?
By all means, ladies first, yeah.
Perfectly honestly, no. I would never, ever, ever have guessed we were here. I don't think I could speak for both of us. Neither of us saw this coming in the early years of our relationship. And I was teaching. I was a teacher full time. I was super immersed in education. And then we became parents, and that became the priority. And Craig was building beautiful things in project management and land development and doing his completely opposite ends of the spectrum. But I think as our passion for wellness and natural healing and deeper connection with our purpose grew, the idea of building something together or something really meaningful together started to feel like that would be a career choice we could look at. So I think as we evolved, that opportunity evolved. But in the early years, we weren't us. So I think we didn't see it. And now, looking back, I feel like we were always meant to do things side by side. And I think when COVID hit and we were in those lockdowns, that is what gave us the opportunity because we were together. Everyone lived in their house with their partner and their children, and you saw what it looked like to be together all day. So my favorite saying right now, a quote by Dr. Joe Dispenza, is that we are all faced with incredible opportunities, brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. And for sure, the starting of this was one of those times. I was not able to teach in a classroom. Craig was not able to do his projects. It felt like we were in this impossible situation, and it ended up being a brilliant opportunity for us.
Mm-hmm. I love that quote. Craig, did you ever imagine that one day you and Brandi would be business partners?
Yeah, I've got a different take on that. I'm going to disagree with Brandi a little bit on that, in so much as that when we met, she was a teacher, and I saw the hours she was putting in doing that. And, I had to construct deals with the janitors to kick her out at 11 p.m. at night in order for her to come home to get enough sleep, which they did, and I'm thankful they did. So when I saw that she was programmed like that, I kind of thought, wow, teaching, maybe she'll do it forever, maybe she won't, but one day, if she ever decided to get outside of that bubble, it could be a little interesting. And, when we moved up north, if you remember, the writing was on the wall for me. I was just trying to figure out how I was going to get you to do it. So, anyways, a bit of a different story for me. I think I saw her potential for who she is. Mm-hmm. And I think, it would have been silly not to allow that to flourish the way that it's turned out to be, right? So I'm glad that we both got the opportunity to go on this crazy roller coaster together.
Fair,
So
I will give you that. But I did not know he was thinking that, trying to turn my...
You had imposter syndrome. How could I?
Yeah,
I think you wouldn't stand any of it. So yeah.
I still today think there's not a business bone in my body, but I think my definition of what business was, and now what I know what business can be when you do it a little differently, I think that's where it came from. And I do appreciate, Craig. I always felt like you saw something in there, but I definitely wasn't using what I had effectively by heading toward burnout, by sitting at my desk all of those hours. And I do appreciate you saving me many nights.
Well, we're opening Pandora's box now because burnout is just, it's been a part of every journey along the way, whether it was teaching or business or whatnot. But we'll save that one for another time, maybe.
Was there a particular moment or conversation that really sparked the idea of starting Eversio together? I know you mentioned during the pandemic, this was kind of where things started, but was there a defining moment or conversation that sparked it?
Yep, absolutely. And it started with mushrooms, quite literally. So as you all know the story, the book is out. You all know the story. I was struggling with chronic inflammation. Super clear now that there was burnout there for me. Years of being a teacher and a mom that put everybody else first. And functional mushrooms became this unexpected key to my healing journey. And at the same time, in parallel, Craig, being the adrenaline junkie that he will admit he is, and also I think a really big picture thinker that he is, just dove in when he saw the opportunity to build a conscious business. So it was one day, I'll never forget it, at the office that is now Eversio HQ. And it wasn't Eversio then, it was Craig's other company at the time, a project management company. He pulled our little team. So we had an accountant, he had an admin assistant. I was there working in the office, helping with things and feeling dead inside because I didn't love that work, but I was helping because it was a family business. And it was during COVID when everything was slowing down, and he pulled us all into the center, literally like, guys, come out here in the middle. And we sat on the little couches and he said, I think we should start a mushroom company. Like, what if we built something that could help others the way it's helped us? And that's how Eversio was born. We wanted others to enjoy the benefits we were enjoying, and the timing couldn't have been better when literally, and Craig can say, everyone around us was suffering. And we both had this desire to help if we could, because we truly weren't suffering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. That's beautiful. How do you think your individual strengths come into play when you were building the foundation of the company?
Yeah, I'll let Craig take that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, we're all built differently, and it's no surprise to you, Des, because you've been with us now for quite a period of time. We always try to work and talk in working in your zone of genius for reference, right? And I think the thing that we learned quite early on, before anyone else had kind of caught on to it within our organization at least, was that if you're lucky enough to find the people that enjoy doing what they're doing every day, then they see it as something that's easy to be done where others would struggle to do it. And that is, a boiled down version of working in your zone of genius. So if we could put together a team of individuals from all different walks in order to, help us with that mission, then I think, we got a chance of being successful, where the odds are kind of stacked against you in terms of starting a business from scratch that you really know nothing about, and going, oh, well, I've done business and created business in other places. How hard could that be? We'll just do that all over again. And naively, we charge forward with that. And at the end of the day, I think the vibe of that is really what attracted our tribe. And I know Brandi says that a lot. So I think we're just super fortunate that we've had people like you join us and others on the team. And we've had people come that weren't the right fit, and they just wanted to be a part of that. And it's hard to say no to that. But at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, you have to learn quickly. And that was some of the things that, others have struggled with in terms of, letting go of things when it's not, servicing the betterment of everyone on the team and the goal and the objective of the company. And that is to, help people feel better and do it in a sustainable fashion. So there you go. That's my 2 cents. I don't know what you have to say about it, B.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to our individual strengths, I was asked this on another podcast once, like, how do you divide the tasks? Because in the beginning, it really was just the two of us. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really see it until I was talking about it that day, that like quite literally everything that Craig is good at, I'm terrible at. And everything that I'm really good at, Craig is trash. And when you bring those things together, and for an example, Craig is truly the visionary. He sees the long game. He maps strategy, has this calm confidence to decision making because he's a projector in human design. So he's great at seeing things from 30,000 feet and 10 years out. And I am always in the present moment. I am the storyteller, I'm the educator. I love to connect the dots between like the science and the soul and the stuff that makes him like, what are you even talking about? So I think my background in teaching helps me translate these quite complex wellness ideas that we get, like Dr. Des and I get blamed for using big words quite a bit. And I think I love that challenge of translating these complex ideas into something people can actually use to heal. So where I think both Craig and I bring this creativity and heart, but in very different ways that somehow complement each other in the end. So he's the logistics, the finances, the legal, the regulatory, and I'm the people person and the mushroom nerd.
And we both have an amazing team to support us.
And we have an amazing team, but to fill in all the gaps.
Yeah, going back to how I, when I thought about doing business together with Brandi, when I saw this opportunity, I knew right then and there, given the complexity of the business and the science behind it and how we wanted to do it and do it right in a transparent manner, there was a high level of education required in terms of understanding that and then being able to convey it, as you know, to the audience in a way in which could easily be absorbed and it would resonate with people. And that's not me. Like, I've been on some of these things and I do what I can where I can, but it's not my zone of genius by any measure. And that's where I knew, like, she's going to have a hard time with this. And I don't know how I get her to realize it the way that I'd like her to realize it. And being that she can see the vision. She needs to have the final say in terms of, the voice that's going out on behalf of the company, and the education behind it is just a natural fit given her background. So to me, that's what it was. And if you remember, and we're telling this story truthfully, we had to hire a lot of people to figure out that those people did not understand our business, could not understand our business. And although we learned things from them and are thankful for them, partaking in that journey, because we learned, just as I'm sure, they got to learn. I think when it comes down to the brand and the business, the owners are the best people for it. And once that's lost at some point in time, there's always that argument out there that, then you just become this, run-of-the-mill brand and you don't have that connection. So at least where we are today, that's how we feel. And yeah, I don't know. There you go.
No, I love that. I think just as somebody who works with both of you every day, I really see the differences in strengths and how you guys complement one another so well. And I think the best thing too is how you let the other person take the lead in their zone of genius. And that as an extension has extended to the entire team, because oftentimes you guys will say, no, these are neither of our zones of genius. One of you guys, like this, take the lead on this. And it's really created this beautiful team culture that we have and that we're so lucky to partake in. And I love the analogy that you guys always talk about with the bus. Can you share that with those who are listening? Because it's my favorite and I think it really describes Eversio and just business in general very well.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brandi, you take it.
Yeah, I mean, Craig, it's funny. We often at the end of a quarter or the beginning of a new year will go for a walk in the woods. And like, we just look at the big picture and it's this imagining Craig is driving a bus we'll talk about. So being the CEO, he's driving this bus and it's the Eversio bus.
I don't like titles, by the way, just to
we don't use it, but truthfully,
I'm not a title person at all.
On paper, when you're a business, there's a lot of legal and on paper, we have to have a CEO in order to be a company and Craig is it. And if he's driving the bus and we're all on the bus, he's constantly in his mind shuffling us. So you have to have the right people on the bus to start. So we're always imagining who's on our bus and are they the right people on the bus? And is there anyone that needs to get off at the next stop? And are we letting new people on the bus? And then once you have the right people on the bus, that's one thing. But sometimes people need to sit in a different seat on the bus. So every quarter we are shuffling. Do we have the right people in the right seats on the bus? And as we have done that kind of every quarter, really over the past 5 years, that is how we've ended up where we are now, is being able to, we know we've got the right person. We know that they're super aligned, and we know they're passionate, and we know that they are mission driven like we are, and we know they're smarter than us, and we know they're working in their zone of genius. But if you've got them on the wrong seat doing the wrong things in the day, they're not going to be lit up by their work, and it's going to feel wrong for everyone. And I think that's, again, Craig's zone, is to be able to see that before I could see it, for sure, before the person themselves can see it, being able to say, I know you're doing this job, but I actually think you'd be really good at this. And are you willing to try sitting in a different seat for this quarter? We have really been able to find people's gifts that they didn't know they had. Mm-hmm. So the right people in the right seats on the bus at the right time.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way of putting it. And I think, like we all learn, right? We're all learning every day, just a ton of information. There's not a day that goes by that we all don't, learn something new, I'm sure. And I think it's interesting to see the willingness of anyone who has been on the bus with us in order to embrace that and openly look at it and go, oh, wow, I never even thought about that. But then go and try it, and you watch them come back, and they're excited, and they're lit up, and they're like, oh, dang, I found something inside of me that I didn't even know I had. And then they run with it. And I just love to give people rope, like, run with that thing. We'll put a bungee on it, and we'll pull you back when we need to. But I think, again, empowering your people to make the decisions and not try to micromanage them is something that's critical for success in any organization. Nobody wants to feel like, they have to seek approval on every little thing before they can do it. And I think, you can take the training wheels off fast and then let them run with it. So, yeah.
And that was hard for Craig to not micromanage, because
it was
the industry he came from is big on micromanaging, and it's not the way. It's not the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I wanted to do this different. I think when we looked at the opportunity to create this business, part of the challenge for me in the background was coming from construction and project management. It's a very different world in terms of the people that you're working with every day. Sure, they're business owners a lot of the time. Not a lot of them maybe have any education at all. Not that matters. But there's a lot of... I've tried to explain this to Brandi before, and she sees it now. There's a lot of anxiety within construction, and people are always afraid they're going to make the wrong choice, wrong decision, and that's going to cost them money or and financial loss. And so everybody's coming from a place of scarcity, and that then translates into a very volatile conversation with all trades, most trades is what I would say. And so, when this business started, I had to learn to communicate a lot differently with, the individuals on the team, as Des, in terms of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And you still see parts of me that shine through, I'm sure, from time to time. And you just,
no.
Oh, so yeah, it's an imperfect world that way, but I think it's given me an opportunity to sharpen the other end of that skill set in terms of connecting with people and trying to do it in a logical manner that is kind and authentic and that is just constructive rather than imploding every situation, because that's the way it had to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Very different industries, but also as a wellness company, it's all about personal development and all of us getting better in many different ways in our roles and through all the things we're learning. So it's cool to see the evolution of all of us as we interact as a team. I'm curious, before you guys started this business together, was there any hesitation or maybe some fear about mixing marriage and business? Because there is a lot of messaging, I think, out there when people talk about family and business or, working with your partner. Was there any hesitation or fear for you guys?
Of course. I think, oh my gosh, yes. It's really vulnerable to mix love with entrepreneurship, which I knew a lot about love and nothing about entrepreneurship. But I do think we also saw it as an opportunity to deepen our partnership because we'd get to spend more time together where, as Craig said, there were days that we didn't see each other for days. So the thought of spending time together, we knew there's this opportunity to become closer in it. So we made a pact early on, and Craig, we all remember, and some of these were, sitting on our bedroom floor in tears at night, that we were going to lead with compassion and curiosity and respect for each other. And we were going to look out for each other in it, because magically the world has given us our worst days when the other person is having their best days and is able to pick up. And I think we've been able to be that for each other along. That's why we're still in business. And I think that the fear of overwhelm hit us very quickly. We felt in overwhelm for the first years. We were in overwhelm all the time. And we didn't want that. We wanted this to be something different. So we always had this little sneaking fear of overwhelm, of taking on too much. And I just think that, like Craig said, in the early days, there was no lack or scarcity for us in this business of building the brand. It was not profit driven. It was mission driven from day one. It was bigger than anything else that had come up for us. But we knew we were going to protect each other in it. And we did do that. And it for sure brought us closer. We've never been closer than we are today. We've evolved together beside each other into totally different people, I would say, than if you met us 5 years ago.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think, to your point, what really resonates with me on that is I didn't want to do this business if Brandi wasn't in. I knew that I needed her, and that she would also need me at points in time in order to make this work. So it's been Team Garden all the way that way. And yeah, I wouldn't change a bloody thing about it. You've been front row seats to some of in our meetings. Like, we may still strongly disagree on things from time to time. And in that moment, I think what's been really neat for me to bear witness to is when we have a disagreement, I can be over it the next moment. It's just a decision for me. Where, Brandi typically prior to that would hold on to things until we had a deeper conversation, circle back on it. And she's had to adapt in order to do business effectively in that way. And I've also had to adapt to use more words or less words in the setting, wherever it is, in order to make sure that, she is heard and respected. So I'm still working every day on that. I can always be a better version of who I am. And that's what I'm trying to keep working on that. It's one of my things.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool. I think prior to working with you guys, I probably would have said, I don't know that you could really mix the two, just from my experience before, where I've seen, other couples, a husband and wife, running a business together like a lifetime ago in a different industry. But for me, it really brought out the worst in those two people. And I didn't know if that's something that I would ever really want to be a part of. But I think it's been really cool to witness the two of you have this mutual love and respect for one another as you are growing towards, the same goals, and you have the same vision together. And it's not always sunshine and rainbows, because you guys sometimes have very different opinions on decisions and how we move forward together. But I think it's been really amazing and beautiful to witness just the evolution of that and the healthy communication and all of that. And what would you say would be for you guys the biggest challenges of running a company together? And then what are the biggest joys?
It's not a short list.
The joy is easy.
The joy is easy, yeah. The challenges are endless. But...
Yeah. I would say the joy is waking up every day knowing that we're building something that's changing lives. And today's a great example. Every day we get to wake up to this team. So we've talked about it before. We have a community love chat in our company. And mostly Lori, but because she receives the reviews and the emails every single day, she wakes up to hundreds of emails, and it's like, what's going to be inside? The joy is waking up to these emails and messages and reviews, and the most beautiful one this morning, that is the joy, the reminder that we are doing something, we are building something together that's changing lives for other people. So seeing the ripple effect of our work on other families that are just like ours, that to me that's the simple joy right there, that one thing. And the challenge to me is not letting our work blur into every corner of our lives, which it so easily can become for entrepreneurs. Any entrepreneur knows that. It's really hard to turn off entrepreneur mode when you're the co-founder, and so is your husband. Right? If I'm not in it, he's in it. And then when I want to take the break and I see he needs me to get in it, there's this constant pull back and forth. So we've learned, and I think are still learning, to prioritize connection over productivity. And that's easier for me than Craig, I would say. But it's something we both have agreed upon outside of the moments that are hard, so that we can just give each other the poke and reminder, like, this isn't everything. It is one thing. And entrepreneur mode has to have an off switch so that we can live the lives that we want. We're both working toward wholeness, and we're doing it on separate paths but beside each other. And we're not going to get there if we don't shut that mode off sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, further to that, yeah, I think your point about people's reviews, I can't tell you personally how many mornings I've wanted to quit doing this. And if it wasn't for, and it's going to make me kind of tear up, but yeah, watching people and just how we've helped people, I think that's the reason why we push on every day. That's the reason why we choose to do the hard things, because all the hard things are the ones worth doing in life. Yeah. And again, I wouldn't do it with anyone else. And I'm just thankful for those people that take the time out of their day to let us know how we've, helped them in some way. And that's why I think we continue to do it. And to Brandy's other point, I think being an entrepreneur is relentless. There is no off. Case in point, this week we're trying to take some personal time, and we have an amazing team, as we've talked about, and you guys are awesome. Like, you guys wouldn't bug us with anything, even if it was burning down, and that's kind of great. But you can't just one day wake up and be like, oh, okay, I'm not going to look at the hundreds of emails that I have, or the nagging this or that or whatever it is,
or celebrate the good stuff too.
Yeah, or celebrate the good stuff, for sure. Absolutely. So yeah, there's really that. I think that's the hardest part for me, is trying to find that space and time in which I don't have to answer to that. And my way of doing it has been very different than Brandy's. I run away to the mountains. That's what I do. I go and get in nature, because that's the only way that I know how to feel good about not answering something, is if you can't get a hold of me, which is increasingly hard today because of what Elon's done with Starlink, and now you can just get a hold of anywhere. So yeah, it's finding the time and the way to turn off the devices and get back to the connection between B and I and with our families, and it's a hard thing to toggle between, right? It's really easy on the screen, but it's very hard in real life.
We're getting better at it. We're getting better.
I think so. I think you guys are getting better at it, just from my observation. And
well, that's good.
Well, it is. And I think, you really do have to, have those boundaries, have those rules to prioritize yourself, because if your cup isn't full, then how are you going to be able to do the things that you need to do? And I'm curious if you guys have any particular rules or boundaries to keep work from taking over your relationship. You mentioned that, sometimes you guys do have to remind each other, but are there any hard set rules or boundaries you have?
Well, I think it's a blend, and it's like a blend with guardrails. So one thing we do is try not to talk about business first thing in the morning, because every time we do, it does not go well. Craig's a real morning person. I'm more of a night owl. And I think there's nobody that's just one thing. We're all kind of a blend of, there can be days where I do wake up inspired and it's early and I want to get my morning going. But there are times of the year that I'm very cyclical, and I'm less of a morning person than he is. So those times that we have tried to set up, let's get up first thing tomorrow morning and look at this issue again, or look at this idea again, it never worked. So we have a hard boundary on, we don't talk about business first thing in the morning. I meditate first thing in the morning. He works out first thing in the morning. And then our mornings start to blur somewhere before the real work day starts. We take regular tech-free walks. So we like to walk together. It's one of the few things that I think we do well together, is let's go for a walk. If it can be in nature, even better. And recently, the last year or so, we have really prioritized a monthly date night, or date morning, or date whatever. But we have to get it in our calendar and commit to us. Yeah,
I would say, yeah.
Yeah. So if one of us says, I need a break or I need quiet time, we listen. And that boundary has saved us more than once. And I think we'll continue to get better and better with it.
I love that. I think you need it, right? You need it. It protects you, and then it also protects other people as well, so that you can show up as the best version of yourself. I'm curious, what have you guys learned about each other through building Eversio that you might not have learned otherwise?
Craig?
I don't know. That's a hard question. I think the most surprising thing that has really come out of it for me, that I have been reflecting on a lot lately, is to see my wife, that I love and cherish so much, just turn into this boss. And, you know, she does everything so well. And I knew that she would. And she doubted herself because of the imposter syndrome of not having credentials for this and that. And she's one of the smartest people I know, in the sense that, you know, if she decides she's going to do something like me, she's all in. And there's no stopping it. And so it's a curse and a blessing all at the same time, because, you know, watching her now develop into, you know, the businesswoman that she is, which is just remarkable to me. I'm very honored to have that in my life, and it's kind of full circle to me to see it come to this today, and, you know, the publishing of her book and just all the amazing things that she does. That's been probably the coolest thing for me to see have come out of this whole thing, and for our kids to see that, you know, mom's a badass and she can do it too. Yeah, so I think that would be my big thing.
Thanks, babe. I think I have learned from Craig that he has this incredible ability to hold space for uncertainty. He manifests like no one I have ever known. He can think a thought, and we have that thing. Like, the abundance that he has created for our family and for this business comes from his ability to, I can't think of another way. It's seen as impulsive, I think, from the outside by other people in our lives. Like, he just thinks it and does it. And creating the thought, we all know, is how we create in this life. We have to be able to have thoughts that are not the thoughts of yesterday. And he has this ability to look to this uncertain future that so many people look at with fear. And he really holds space for uncertainty. Like, what could it be like? And he is not afraid to dream big. He can just be so steady, even when I'm swirling, like when I'm melting. This feels big and it feels hard. And those goals are, you know, the goals are ridiculous, you know. And it's a beautiful thing to just watch someone be so steady and so sure in uncertainty, and really be this solid rock of, like, he's just so certain that things are going to be the way that he has seen them in his mind, and then they happen. And it's awesome. It's awesome to be pulled along the ride for that. So I think he's learned that I bring this passion and fire, even when things are hard. I can say, who cares that, you know, we lost that, whatever, you know, the certification didn't come in time for a thing that we needed, and that can be hard. I can just still be as passionate as I was the day before and believe everything will turn out, but I don't have the future vision for things in business that he does. So we have seen resilience, a lot of empathy, and a shared purpose, I think, that wasn't there before we started this in each other. And I think it is that shared purpose that keeps us coming back to making it great, these new things we see in each other.
Yeah, you know, going back to Brandy's previous point, like, we used to pick each other up off the bathroom floor for it was like years.
The first 2 years, I would say.
Yeah, it was brutal. I'd be crying, having a mental breakdown in the morning or in the afternoon, and she would pick me up, and vice versa. And this went on, and I was like, how long can we do this? Like, is this even... And that's where you truly, like, you learn who a person is made of.
Yeah.
Like, we've been together over 25 years, and I mean, it was relentless, right, B? I mean...
Yeah, and when we talk about the hard things, people are going like, what was so hard? Because I think it doesn't look hard on the outside. It's just mushrooms.
What's there, right? You don't get to see what's really under the hood. And I think being vulnerable, and this is why I was kind of excited when you guys said, hey, let's do this. I'm not a big speaker like that. It's not my jam, but I think more people need to understand that, like, yes, it's hard, but everyone needs a partner. Don't try to do it on your own. Like, it's just too much. Sure, there's a lot of successful people that have done it, and I'm, hats off to them. I'm not saying you can't, but if you knew what I knew, I would never do it. I would have a partner for sure, because, you need somebody to bounce things off of, and you need somebody to calm you when, you haven't slept for 3 days because you're just trying to make things work.
And we've learned so much about each other in those hardest times. Dr. Des, you will have my favorite saying, right? It's always right there beside the hard moments that are the biggest learnings about life for us. And that's been the gift of this business, is that we have learned so much about ourselves and each other in watching the breakdowns happen for us, and then being able to overcome it and feel so incredible that we overcame that. And the silliest things in the beginning, it was sales. You create this company, you invest all of your money and your time and your energy into something. And, our first day of sales, we didn't know anything about marketing or e-commerce or meta, we didn't know anything. So when people didn't come, you freak out. Like, are we going to be okay? Are we going to make enough sales of something that, I never thought of it as money. I just wanted people to have it. Like, honestly, I wanted to give it away. And I believed
she did. I can vouch for that, and still does, as you all know.
Yeah.
I mean, so
that was hard. Like, I just want to give it to people. And when we didn't have big sales in those first weeks, months, I still wanted people to have it, because I wanted them to feel what we had felt. I wanted them to experience what we had. And, Craig saying to me, we can't give it away because we won't feed our kids. That was really hard for us to get through. We had to believe that the people would come if we kept putting the right energy behind us. And like I said, there were days that Craig had to say that to me, and there were days I had to say that to him. And the abundance for us came when we stopped worrying about the money and started caring more about the way people would feel when they experienced what we did. And when we brought in more people to help us, like you, Dr. Des and Dr. Shannon, bringing people in that have been through the same things we had in a bit of a different way, it just fueled this fire that it's not that hard. We don't have those days anymore. Like, it's been a long time since we cried on the bathroom floor.
there's fewer for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's none, but there's definitely fewer.
A lot fewer.
A lot fewer. They say that, entrepreneurship is so hard because it really forces you to look at your own limiting beliefs and what holds you back in life, and it puts a microscope on that. And I think it's really cool that you guys have one another for that process. You're holding hands on that journey, and you're each being confronted with your own limiting beliefs and overcoming that and having that evolution. And you've shared about the challenges and how exciting it's been with business. What is one thing that you admire the most about each other, both as partners in life and in entrepreneurship?
Oh, I'll go first.
Easy. No, I'm going first. I get
Okay.
to say this one. It's Brandi. I mean, the light that she brings, as anyone knows, there's a reason why she's done so well. And we've done so well. And that is, yes, we have a ton of support through you and other staff, but the constant is Brandi, and has always been. And anyone who is fortunate enough to come into contact with her knows she's a special being, and that's truly amazing. And it's a bit terrifying for me, if I'm being honest, at times too, because there's nobody in her life other than me, as I see it, to protect that time and that light that she has. There's only so much to give in a day, and she doesn't stop. And that's hard as a husband, as a fellow entrepreneur, side by side with her. And those are the reminder conversations that we have to have with one another, just to check in and remind each other, like, hey, we need to go for that walk without the device, or whatever it may be. So it's you, it's her.
I think I have lots of people in my life protecting that these days, and it feels really good to know that. And I think what Craig is saying, and Dr. Des, you would agree, because you've been out in public with me maybe more than he has lately. We go to retreats and things together, but I want to talk to everyone and know their story, because when I started sharing my story, I saw what difference it made for the people around me. And I'm not the only, we all have that story, but telling a story and really hearing someone takes time. And, I believe time is infinite, but here in this 3D world, it's not. And we do have kids and we have family and we have friends around us. And I very easily could be pulled into the giving a lot of time away to hear what other people need to say. They need to be heard and they want to feel seen. And I want to be that for everyone that comes around. But our community has grown to be massive. And it drives me nuts that I can't get to everyone and give everyone the attention they deserve. And we're figuring out how we can do that. But I do appreciate the protection from both of you in helping to remind me that it's okay to not answer every single little thing.
Yeah, you're good
I
like
would
that,
like
Desi. Not to keep you out of that.
Amazing.
Our whole team is. I mean, everyone understands that, right? And it's a hard thing because that is your business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so you can't just say no to all of it.
No.
But how do you skirt that line every day in order to ensure that you're recharging because you need to, and if you're just giving, then there's nothing coming back. And I've had to do sales in which I thought, I can't do sales, but it turns out I have to do sales. So in doing that, I understand that connection with people, and it's real and it's raw, and it's like that with our partners in B2B and stuff like that, and you make all the time in the day for that.
Yeah.
It just somehow then you don't have time left unless you work till 3:00 in the morning for the other things. So that's the hard part. That's the yin and the yang.
Yeah. What I admire most about Craig, the honesty. Anybody that knows Craig knows you're going to get the straight up facts. Everything's on the table. It's not always easy to hear, but he is brutally honest all of the time. No filter. And I admire that because I hold back sometimes in hopes of saving someone's feelings or not having conflict. And I think I've avoided conflict my whole life. And that isn't necessarily a great thing because there's a lot of learning, like we said, to be had in that. And Craig's not afraid of that. He's honest because he knows he will get further when he does that and doesn't beat around the bush. And that comes with a ton of integrity. And like I said before, a really clear vision of the future. So it's not one thing I admire about him, but I think they're connected: honesty and integrity and this super clear vision of the future. He does not procrastinate. And almost everybody else I know around my life is working on not procrastinating. And he has figured it out. The master of not procrastinating.
I don't know about that, but...
I watch it every day, and I'm fascinated by the beast.
Yeah, he attacks everything that he is working towards. It's
always in attack mode. It's a great way to say it.
Just doing it or not doing it, right? Like he's going to do it all the way. And I agree with that. I think he's willing to have hard conversations.
Yes.
And a lot of people aren't. And
yes.
Your relationship is only as good as the level of depth that you have with your conversations. And he's not he's willing to have the hard conversations, whether it's going to be hard for the other person or him or whatever. And I agree with his favorite quality about you, and that you are just this light and you make people feel really seen and heard and special. Like I see it all the time, just whether it's in our community or with friends or people who stop by in the hallway or anything. It's you definitely do have that special light, and you guys have both really complementary qualities, I would say, and similar qualities too that maybe you guys don't realize. I'm curious, how has working with functional mushrooms and wellness shaped your relationship and your family life?
The mushrooms. I think it's made us, for sure, it has made us more intentional with our life. We were not those people before the mushrooms came in. Like, we're so much more present, I would say. It forced us to incorporate things like mindfulness. Like, they're adaptogens and they're part of natural healing. And that became part of how we decided to raise our kids and show up for each other and care for the world and care for ourselves. Like, there's no part of our lives they didn't touch when we started learning about the kingdom fungi and what was happening inside of us when we put mushrooms inside of us. So
it's very all-consuming.
Yeah. They didn't just change our health. They changed our philosophy of living.
Love
and
that.
Really forced us to see the interconnectedness of all things. That is the unifying. You talk to anybody who's a mushroom nerd And at some point you got that download that there is an interconnectedness of all things, and mushrooms, I say it all the time, are the symbol, the representative of that to me. So every day I take mushrooms morning, noon, and night, and I stop for that minute and think about that I am continuing to be connected by this relationship we've built with them. And it makes everything feel very intentional. It makes you become super present, and that's where the magic happens. And we are changed people because of it. That was not how we lived our lives.
Yeah, it's quite the rabbit hole. Like once you start and you go down it, I mean, even you, Des, right? Like when we found you that day at the crosswalk and we're like, hey, want to come work with us? You were going to school and you were just finishing up, becoming an ND, and we asked you like how much are they talking about this, and you were like, well, they kind of talked about it a little bit, but I don't know what I don't know. And you were just blown away at how integrated they can be into everyone's daily health routine, right? And it's just such a simple thing, but at the end of the day it's all encompassing. There isn't a touch point in your day that it doesn't interact with, and not only because it's our business, but because of what we believe and the science behind it. And it's so easy to understand if you're willing and able to take the time. And it's a light bulb moment for both of us. And our kids are great examples of that, right? Like Lila's like, I need 2 reishi before bed, please.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
So when your kids start reacting like that, and although we cannot say give this to your kids because of Health Canada's
I'm
claims,
saying it. Give it to your kids.
Yeah, and I would too. Like just enough, right?
It's food.
They want to tell us that we should do other things to our body, yet don't take something naturally occurring. So it's kind of silly at the end of the day, in which this has been kind of suppressed in the mainstream media up until the last few years, and it's great to see it getting some attention. So
it does spill over into family life. We're up here at our lake house. It's summer holidays right now, and we're trying to enjoy some nature after a super busy few months. And we've got friends and we've got family, quite a big group staying with us here, and it's amazing how a certain time in the evening comes and people start to there used to be a time where everyone was passing around drinks, and literally our friends are like, do you have any reishi? Or, hey, tomorrow we're going to go do that thing. Craig's trying to get his 360 on the wakeboard, on wake surfing, which he did 2 days ago, got that 360. And that people are wondering, are we taking cordyceps every day? Yeah, I'm taking cordyceps every day because we're outside moving our bodies more than we do on a regular day. And it's just part of us. And other people around us, it's become part of their life too, which we don't get to see. We don't live with someone. But when we're in, closer quarters and we start to see how our family and friends are also incorporating functional mushrooms as part of an optimal. Yes. And they want to know more. It becomes the conversation, which is an exciting conversation. We're not sitting around judging and complaining as our conversation. We're not gossiping. We're talking about, science and nerdy nature things, and the conversation with our friends and family has changed because of it, and it feels good for everyone. So it's really, there's not a part of our life it hasn't touched.
And I would say further to that, I think the thing that I've noticed the most, like I just turned 47, and when I was doing Ironman and stuff like that, I was taking cordyceps, and they were key. But what I've really started to notice in the last 3-4 years is how without them I feel or don't feel in a day, if that makes any sense. And further to that, it's just like, well, do I have the energy to stay up past 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night at 47? And you laugh at that, but the reality is, if you're up at 5:30 every day, your biological clock still wants to get up at that time. So do you give it more rest when you can, or can you keep playing hard all day? And for me, the quality of life is everything. I've always said, I've watched so many people lose so much of their life due to dementia, things like that, and I just want to live as long as I can doing all the things I love to do every day. And mushrooms has given me that ability time and time again to do it. So
the hope that they'll always be there.
Yeah.
And they're just getting better as we work with them. Like, we know that as we work with the science and the way things are being extracted differently and formulated differently and dosed differently, and Health Canada catches up. Thank you, Health Canada, to allow us to use things differently. There's just so much hope that we are going to have lifespans as long as our health spans. And that really matters to us. Like Craig said, we both have family that we've watched live long, but not in good health. Yeah. And we don't want that. We don't want that.
Yeah, it's that saying, once you know, how do you unknow, right?
Yeah.
So, when people say, well, what mushroom should I take? And it's like, well, I don't know everything that's going on in your life, but, everyone has a go-to mushroom for what they want and what their beliefs are, or what they see happening in their own family. So, yeah, I think it's best to do a lot of research, and that's what we try to do differently than everybody else is. Try to provide all that research right there. So you can just go one place, trust that it's going to be an honest, source of information that is credible, and that the science is backed, and you can tell if it's BS or not, right? And and then if you want to try something, give her a whirl. You got nothing to lose, I'll tell you that.
Give it a whirl. I know somebody that says that a lot. We love that lady. I'm curious. So everybody has a different version of success and what that looks like. For you two, what does success look like for you as a couple, and then also as co-founders?
You want me to go, babe?
Yeah, go.
Success. I mean, today, success looks like waking up with peace in our hearts, knowing that we're helping others and contributing to the collective consciousness. Like, it sounds super nerdy, but that's it for me. That's it. Success to me is knowing that I have a cup full enough, like you said, Dr. Des, that I can give to others, and I can contribute to what is going on, not just in my house or in my own body, but to the community and to this country and to this continent and to this globe. We are all connected. And there is a deep responsibility in me these days to contribute to that, to go out in the world the best that I can be. And I feel successful when I wake up ready to do that. So waking up with that, and that's a sense of peace in my heart. I'm a big meditator, and it just seems the more time I spend in meditation these days, the more successful I feel, which would not have been my definition of success even just a few years ago. So if it's having dinner as a family, because we've allowed ourselves to do that, to me, there's a ripple effect when you sit down as a family and you talk to that generation that's coming after you, and you hear what's going on, and you offer something that then goes out to their friends, and along the way, it's connecting and laughing with our kids. I will often judge the success of my day by how much I laughed that day. And that often happens when we're connecting with our kids and being reminded of that feeling of youthfulness, and just knowing that our work is aligned with our values. Like, that's success. I feel so bad for people that, because I was that person having to drive to work, not wanting to go there, not feeling like I was able to make a difference there, or I was fighting a losing battle there. And that never happens for me anymore. Every day I wake up and feel like we're building something lasting. We're doing it together, and that we're leaving a legacy of love and wellness. And I feel abundant, and it feels like success for me.
Love that. CG?
Yeah, I think I mirror a lot of what Brandy's saying. I think success for me has, it's been different over the years. I think when people traditionally think of success, they think of like, monetary
dollar signs.
Value,
Yeah.
Right? And that is the reality of the world that we presently live in, that is what defines success. And I've worked with a lot of people who had a lot of money. I've worked for people who had a lot of money, and I don't think it made anyone happier, if I'm being truthful. I think it made aspects of their life easier, but I think it also contributed to having a lot of really hard interactions, with a lot more hard interactions daily that was taking away from them than filling them up. And so what I've kind of started to lean towards as of late is more what Brandy's saying, and that is, if you're fortunate enough to be doing something that you love every day, that is success. If you get up with purpose every day and you enjoy where you're going and you enjoy the people that you're doing it with, what more do you want? Like, that is success. And if you're getting paid a fair value for that, that is success. And just not chasing something that just doesn't exist, because it doesn't. You know, the things are just things at the end of the day. And really what matters, and I think the most special thing for me, is when I have a meaningful conversation with somebody over their health, over their mental health, over their being, or how they experience change. Those are still the things that probably light me up the most every single day. And reading the reviews, and those are the things that keep me going in business. In terms of relationship, that's a big one. Yeah, I think just the fact that B and I have been together for, how long has it been? Over 25 years, right? We just celebrated our 20th year anniversary, and that was a big milestone to me, because both my parents are not together and hadn't been since I was very young. So to me, I already feel like on some level I've done all right, and we're being good role models for our children. And you know, when our kids come to us and say, hey, independently, I love you, and you're the best dad, or you're the best mom, or you're the best mom and dad, or friends and colleagues come and say, you know what, I really appreciate working here. I'm so thankful I got the opportunity. Like, those are the things that define success in business and in your day-to-day life. And I think we could all use to have a lot more of that. So,
Amen.
Amen. Mic drop. I love that. And I think it goes to show in just the team that we have, because all of us love going to work every day. We laugh so much that we're almost crying every day. Like, that's just us. The memes are hilarious.
Yeah.
Right? All of the
That's
things,
why
all
we
of
can't
our
take
chat.
a week off, because I want to see that stuff. Like when Craig was saying earlier, you know, taking a week off is hard because you guys wouldn't ask us if the house was burning down. You wouldn't bother us. But I want to be bothered with the good things. I miss celebrating the way that we do. We have a very unique way
Culture
to
that
share.
way, yeah.
Yes, the company culture is something that every company should have. I will tell you, I worked for the government, non-existent. And sometimes people blame that on the lack of funding for those things, but we go on retreats, we bring in breath work, we meditate together, we paint, we do things that, yes, there is a bit of a financial
we
investment
go for
there.
walks at lunch
But
together.
exactly.
I mean, like, just you see somebody's low or having or struggling, like, hey, what do you need? People go, Des, you brought me chocolate to brighten my day. Like, just that type of thing it's unheard of in most people's daily life of work and or being. And I just think it's shitty, because it could be done so much easier, as we know. And people would really probably give more to the organizations that they're a part of, and then come back home and be able to give more to their families and their loved ones. So yeah, I think that's
The hustle and grind is over. It's the giving and taking and keeping the cycle going. So I think we've found something special with our little team of Eversio and the people who are connected to us just outside. We work with a lot of consultants that get little tastes of the crazy, and I'm so excited to see where it goes.
And I think the community feels that too, because, you know, the things that you see on social media or in emails of like the little funny things or photos or memes or anything, that's the real us. And we try and show people that, because they're an extension of us. They're our community, right? So that's who we are. And we just try to share it with them. So yeah, super cool. Okay, quickly 2 questions before we get into a rapid fire round, which I'm super pumped about, because it's going to be hilarious and fun. I'm sure there are other people out here who are listening who either have a business or maybe are looking to start a business and are seeking some advice from you guys. What advice would you give to other couples that are thinking about starting a business together or entering that new realm of entrepreneurship together?
Yeah. Get clear on your values. That's it. You got to be crystal clear on your values before you sign anything, decide on anything, spend money on anything. If you don't know what your values are, what their values are, and my values and Craig's values aren't actually exactly the same, but our company values come from our values, and they are the agreed upon overlap. And
They're
when
the
that
non-negotiables.
yeah, the core values, I mean, every single time we sit down at Eversio HQ and have a new a meeting for a new quarter, they're on the screen in front of everybody. Here are the core values of the company. It's not a secret, and we are reminded constantly. They're on our wall. You have to be clear on what you want. Know why you're doing it and for whom.
Yeah.
Because if
you're not doing it for you, then you probably shouldn't do it, to be honest.
To start, but I believe in oneness. What I'm doing for me, I am doing for everyone that is on this planet. And when we heal ourselves, we heal others. And that, to me, is why we're doing this. So when we got clear on our vision in the very beginning, our mission is to change lives through fungi. That was a really simple thing. But then how are we going to do that? We have 5 or 6 things that we're just super crystal clear on. We communicate often. That's so, so, so important. And we do that vulnerably. Like we said, there are tears. There's no, putting on a business suit with a briefcase and having to be this hard ass boss babe. That's not reality. Business is just communicating with each other. And we've really had to work on that and agreed to do it. And like Craig said, he runs out of words in a day, like used up all my words. That's really hard for me because I love to talk and I could go and go and go. So making sure that we prioritize that communication before he's run out of words has to happen at certain times of the day or on certain days of the week. And you have to plan that in and get it in the calendar and don't let it pass you by. The minute we lose the communication, everybody on the team feels it. So, and I think
that's where isolation creeps in, and that's not good, right?
No, everybody needs to we need to feel connected. So you have to make space for the relationship, not just the revenue. You have to make space for that.
And that's hard. That's really hard because, whatever you want to get out of your business at the end of the day, you're going into it to hopefully provide for yourself, a life, right? And I get it. We've been fortunate enough to go crazy a bunch of times with a bunch of different businesses, and they're all very different. And you can't take one thing from one and move it and morph it into another one. You can't. There's certain fundamentals, accounting and stuff like that you're going to have to deal with. But every business is unique to itself. And so making sure, to Brandi's point, that you have non-negotiables. Like, these are non-starters. And if we veer from this, then the business isn't really what we said it was from when it began. And now you don't believe in that business unconsciously or subconsciously. And without that, guess what? It doesn't have a chance of survival. Sure, you might be lucky and it's that 1 in a million that just goes viral or something like that. But is it sustainable then? Mm-hmm. Probably not.
Yeah. And I think the day we decided to kind of flip the switch on what the traditional starting a business looked like, and we said it's people first, and then planet, and then profit, people thought we were crazy. I had to sit at the table with it was me and a lot of men. Ego. I wrote about this in the book too, about how hard it was for me to change my energy. Like, I felt like the minority thinking that way, walking into those meetings. But when I walked in with the energy of I'm the minority of people that believes people first and then planet and then profit, that was felt. And when I changed my mindset because Craig backed me, like the day, I will never forget the day he came to bat for me. And it was us communicating before we went into a meeting to remind ourselves what our values were and why we were doing it and who we were doing it for. And the day I changed my mindset and walked into a meeting with the people who were going to be able to help us with things like organization and funding and logistics, everything shifted. And other people got on board with that because we were so clear and super together on it. Or they fell
to the sides. And
organically fell away because they weren't the right person. And that was a gift to us. So the business is an extension of your love, not the other way around. And we just have to remind ourselves of that all of the time. And people should do it. I think more couples should get in business together. I think there's too many people that work so many hours apart and then feel like there's nothing left to give when they get home to their kids, to their spouse, and they see the worst of them then. And I think more people should be in business or work alongside. There used to be don't date within the company. I totally disagree. I think the more love, the better. We're meant to do things, create things together. And it's worked for us. It can work for you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, let's do our rapid fire round because this is going to be fun. Okay, so you have to say it really quickly. Okay.
Who's going first? Who answers first?
Both of
We're
you.
both going to say.
You're both going to answer. Okay.
Well, I got a $1 on who answers first. All of them.
But you both have to answer. Okay. Who's more likely to answer emails at 2 a.m.?
Me.
B.
Yeah.
You?
Biggest.
Me.
Yeah.
The night owl ninja.
It's for sure. I will confirm.
2 a.m. Sure. You're never awake.
If I can't sleep, I'm emailing. And it's kind of odd. It's kind of scary how many people tell me, why are you up at 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning? So yeah, I guess we share that. Yeah, okay. You're probably sleeping while I'm emailing, and vice versa. Then, so there you go.
Maybe we need to have an IT meeting about scheduling emails, scheduling to send.
Yes.
I see that thing pop up now, actually, and I'm like, oh, should I probably do that? Oh,
yes,
whatever.
You should.
It's another click I don't want to do. No.
We'll talk to Deb.
Yeah. What's the biggest pet peeve about each other at work?
Craig's impatience in meetings.
Brandi talking so much in meetings.
Who's the visionary and who's the realist?
Oh, Craig's the realist.
Yeah.
Craig's the realist. I'm the optimistic idealist.
Yeah, I would say I think I can carry some vision, but she's very much the grounding rod every day.
We're both visionaries.
Yeah. What's your go-to way to reset after a stressful day?
Order sushi instead of cooking.
Never cook.
Or go for a walk in the woods with our dog.
What's your favorite mushroom? And you can't say all of them.
Lion's mane.
Cordyceps.
Who said, let's start a mushroom company first?
Craig.
Me.
What's the most used phrase in your house right now?
It is what it is.
There are infinite possibilities in the field.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
Yeah. What's one word you'd use to describe your partner as a co-founder?
Unlimited.
Beautiful.
What's one word you'd use to describe them as a spouse?
Devoted.
Beautiful. Not physically. I just mean everything about your love.
Beautiful inside and out.
Everything.
Yeah. What's your
You're the full circle. Like, you're the full meal deal. How I landed you, I still don't know.
You guys are cute. What's your guilty pleasure?
Chocolate.
Yeah. I have 3 right now. Audiobooks, yoga, and popcorn.
I saw the hard eyes in Craig's face when he said chocolate.
Chocolate.
I could actually go for some right now.
I would say you're chocolate and surfing. It's like, what should we do this morning? Let's surf first. First.
Who's more likely to cry during a heartfelt customer testimonial?
Oh, definitely me. I cry every time.
Yeah,
every time.
Baby, yeah.
What's one thing you've learned from mushrooms that applies to marriage?
Oh.
We're always connected. So
Growth happens underground before it ever breaks the surface.
Ooh. Finish this sentence. Running a business with your spouse is?
An adventure in trust and transformation.
Sure. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun. It can be a hell of a lot of stress too. And I think, yeah. Anyways, sorry, speed around.
No, that was it. So, Brandi and Craig, thank you both for sharing your story with us today. I think our audience, whoever's listening, there's so many raw moments and beautiful moments and a lot to learn from both of you. And it's really inspiring to hear how you've built something so meaningful together and brought people who otherwise would have been strangers together, whether it's our team and also our community too. And not just in business, but in life, I think all of us from Team Eversio would say that we're friends and friends that feel like family, which is what a gift. So to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope hope this episode gave you a glimpse into the heart of Eversio Wellness and the love that powers it. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and stay connected. Be well,
Sending you
everyone.
love, everyone.
See ya.